All right, super excited to jump in here if you happen to watch it on the replay or whether you're watching live. So this is our last official live Q&A. I'm just reminding everybody you'll have access to all the training materials, and then the Voxer support. If you're not using it, take advantage through the end of this year. I'm here for you. And then, there's other ways that you can continue to work with me. So it doesn't mean this is the end of the road here. So what I want to do today is talk about our offers. And I'm just going to share my screen here. Can you see the screen? All right. So what I wanted to chat about was your offer, and I call it the offer diamond, because a lot of times people, they confuse what your offer is based on everything else. And we're just going to dig into what this means. When we talk about our offer, I keep kind of pounding it into people's head that we need to sell the big promise, the transformation. So if somebody talks about, they want to know about my offer, they're not asking how many videos and how many pages is my downloads and all of that kind of stuff. What is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? So it's that big promise. And not that we exaggerate, not that we make up stuff, but we want to speak to the highest denomination in the sense of what is possible, because when people come into our world, that's what they're buying. They're looking for the possibilities. So let's just take a minute and think about those magazines that you look at in the checkout lane. I mean, a lot of them, okay, how to lose 30 pounds due to this new diet to change your thyroid or something, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, yeah, right. But that big promise is, yes, I want to lose 30 pounds. And yes, I think it's connected with my thyroid. So when we are talking about our offer, we need to use wide paint strokes and really talk about that big promise. And it's not just lose, and I keep talking about weight, but this is time of year, a lot of people think about that. It's not just how to lose 15 pounds. It's the specific framework that you have come up with that makes your program or service a little different than other people. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, there's two things I want you to remember. One is we are all unique. So you and I could be teaching and delivering the same promise, okay? If we're in the fitness world and we're both promoting how to lose 15 pounds, by the end of January, for instance. But what unique framework do we have that sets us apart? Because we all come from different experiences, life histories, all of that kind of stuff. And we see things differently. Our lenses are just slightly tilted from one to the other. So we need to capitalize on that and build our own unique framework. Sometimes if you peel away all the layers, it's the same onion, right? But it's how we're presenting it, and it's how we're kind of folding things in together. So when we're building our offers, we want to think about what unique framework can I build and can I talk about so that people realize I'm not just helping you lose 15 pounds. I am helping you reset your set point or whatever it's called, so that after you lose the 15 pounds, it'll be easier to keep it off. And with my framework of ABC, here's how we go at that. All right. So then the next thing we need to do is, and I've talked about this in other videos, name it to claim it. So we need to put a name on our framework and our different, I'll call it toolkits. So depending on how detailed our program is that we're offering to people, in this toolkit, in this framework, what do we call it? And, again, go on ChatGPT and just say, okay, and, we're going to see some of the standard things, a toolkit, a framework. I can't think of some of them right now, but then we want to somehow spice up the name so that, one, people can remember it. It's easy to say, it's memorable, and it puts our unique stamp on it. So in my higher ticket program, I could call the toolkit the money making machine, for instance, and that's where we build the back end pieces of the business that's going to generate leads on demand that turn into clients. Okay, so you just have to come up with some kind of a name connected with your unique USP, so to speak, in your framework, so that when people talk about it, it sticks in their mind. All right, does that make sense? And what we need to do when we talk about our offer, we need to do what's known as future forecasting. We want to help people see the future and see themselves in that promised land. So instead of just saying, lose 15 pounds by the end of January, how about reframing it by saying, fit into your skinny jeans by the end of January, and notice that your husband is looking you over as you walk out of the bedroom. Okay. Or fit into that sexy little black dress, and when you walk into the restaurant, you notice people's heads turning. So do you see how you're helping somebody put themselves into the promised land? That's what they're buying from you. They want to get to the end result. And when you help them future forecast, then there's a better chance that they're going to say yes. Because what you're doing is you're already having the conversation that they have in their head. Because if somebody came to you and they wanted to get fit or they wanted to lose weight, what are they going to say? They're going to talk about it in kind of the neutral, bland way. Well, I'd love to lose 15 pounds. They might go a step further and say, well, I want to get healthier. They might go a tiny step further and say, I want to set I want to be a good role model for my family or my hubby or whatever it is. But what are they thinking deep down inside? They would love to fit back into their skinny jeans so that blank, blank, blank. What is it that they really want? So that the next time my sister sees me, she's green with envy. Or when I show up at that class reunion, everyone is thinking to themselves, is that the fat kid we knew in high school? Or so that I finally see that desire back in my husband's eyes. It's those secret emotional things that's going to get people to move closer to you. And so the more we can talk about it in the language that's already in their head, stop being polite about it, but get to the root. For people that are building an online business, what are they really thinking? So that I want to start earning $2,000 a month, so that so that I can have extra money, but so that I can send my kid to summer camp, to that posh summer camp like everyone else, or so that I can tell my husband who keeps asking, show me the money, you're spending all this money, or so that I don't have to go back to that 9-to-5 job. Whatever it is, meet them where they're at, that conversation that they're having in their head. And then you can tie into the benefits. Once they reach the promised land, what are the benefits so that you can what? And so I kind of tapped on that a little bit, but again, it depends on what promised land you're taking them to. But the so that is the magic phrase. If we can say, get this, here's the promised land so that, and again, it has nothing to do with how many modules, how many coaching sessions, how many ebooks. Those are the tools that you might use to help people get there. But what do they want? They want a certain result, so that what is the true benefit that they'll get from that? And then again, to tie into those secret benefits. And again, this is where you tap into the emotional part, the part that people usually won't say out loud, but that's how they're feeling. I just read the other day, somebody said they want to make $1 million in their business. That's their goal for next year. I mean, they're already doing pretty well, so it's probably achievable. But their secret benefit is because they want to own 2 houses. They want a house on the ocean and a house in the city where they normally live. Now, a lot of people would not put voice to that because right away they're thinking, well, I can't say that because it makes me sound greedy, or I can't verbalize that because then it makes me look vulnerable. But if we tap into those secret benefits, that's when we get their attention. Does that make sense? So somebody might be wanting to make money, or new moms starting out in this business, they want to build their own personal nest egg because every woman should have her own money, just something as simple as that. So try to figure out what those secret benefits are. And remember that we have to look below the surface to really dig into those emotions. And a lot of times people aren't going to be talking about these emotions, but if you talk about them, then, they may not publicly say, yes, I agree. But what's that going to do? It's going to bring them closer because they're going to say, she gets me. She understands what it is that I'm trying to do or what I'm struggling with. Okay. And then once you get a few people, you could, kind of in a safe environment, I guess, but you could dig in a little bit and try to really figure out what are some of those emotions that they're thinking and feeling so that you can use that in writing your copy. So when we're talking, we have the offer versus the product. And the here we have like an architect, they're building an office or a home or whatever. So the product might be, okay, we're going to build a new house, but the offer is, okay, we are going to design the house. We will help you pick the perfect colors according to your personality. We will give you furniture choices. We will do furniture placement. I don't know. I mean, the list could go on, but it's more than just that product of, we're going to build a house for you. So the offer is what I call the wrapping that goes around it. So, and I used to visually, I would show this in my marketing class that I would teach students on the campus. I had little oranges, just little tangerines. And then I had another one. It was the same. I think it was just 3 little tangerines. The other one, very same thing, but they were in a clear little cellophane bag with a pretty little ribbon. And I said, which one would you pick? Well, everybody wants the one with the wrapping, which is ridiculous because you open it, you throw the wrapping away, right? But it makes it look more enticing and it increases the value. So when we are building our offer, it's the wrapper that goes around what product or service that we're selling. And this is the enticement factor. So again, let's think about wedding cakes. I should have put a picture of a wedding cake in here. You know, if anybody's gone down that route and you go and you taste the cakes and all that kind of stuff, most bakers nowadays, because cakes are, you know, really expensive, they'll say, okay, we're going to make a cake that looks like this, but we'll also have these sheet cakes off to the side. Well, it's the same cake, you know, it all tastes the same. But which slice would you like? You know, you want this beautiful decorated cake. That's what gets people salivating. That's what gets people ready to buy. So when we're packaging up our offer, that's what gets people excited. They are ready to start giving you money. So that's what I call the offer diamond. It's more than just one thing. It's not just the program to teach someone how to create a landing page. The offer diamond has multiple sides or facets to it. So the offer starts out with, what is the big promise that you're offering people? And then what's the bonus? Because here's the deal. We all love feeling like we're getting something a little extra. The caution is we don't want to start throwing things at them just for the sake of bonuses. So we don't want to open up our digital pantry and say, well, I taught this course a couple years ago and I have this and I have this. The bonuses need to build on whatever it is to make it easier. So if you're teaching someone how to create a digital product or like a digital product to sell on Etsy or something, a bonus, again, think about what would they need or what would help them do it faster or kind of get to the next level. So if somebody's trying to figure out what to sell on Etsy and you give them the roadmap, well, a bonus might be that Canva social media post to advertise what it is. Another bonus, and again, you could build these things into the product and then just pull a couple out and label them as bonuses. But you want to make sure that they fit and it's something that will be useful to them, because a lot of times it's like the next thing. So like I'm a Mac girl now, and so the iPencil, you know, is a perfect you know, you had to buy it, you know, it was like $100 or something, but it's the next logical thing that goes with that product that you bought, because it just makes it easier if you have an iPencil to use versus just a regular stylus. There's also like these little, I don't even know what you call them, but you can buy these additional little cap thingies. And I think they sell them, but you could like make this a bonus, a packet of 3 extra stylus caps, whatever they're called. You know what I'm saying? So then you're stacking on this offer with the bonus. So that's the second piece of the offer. The third piece here, the payment terms. So this is something that a lot of times we forget about, but how you structure the payment terms builds into the likability factor of the offer. So a lot of times people like to use 7s and 9s in their pricing. You know, there is some psychology with that, because instead of charging $500, $497 just feels better, even though it's only $3. The higher you go in price, the less that the ending digits matter, but probably the more payment terms would matter. So if you're selling a low ticket offer, $9, $17, $27, you know, if they can't afford that, then they probably aren't your ideal client, right? If you get up to like maybe 200, again, depending on who your offer is offered to, then you might want to think about payment terms. So again, if your audience, if they're, you know, like moms with younger families and money is pretty tight, even though your product might be $100 or $200, if you could offer to finance by giving them payment terms, it makes that offer more attractive. So if I had to decide, okay, am I going to spend $197 for this, or even if I spend a little more, in the long run, it would cost me $220, but there's 4 easy payments. And we see that on infomercials all the time, right? It's only 4 easy payments of. So do you see how they're building that into the offer? And even if I had the full amount, sometimes having a payment option makes it more palatable, because if I don't know you, it's like, well, let me try it. So I'll send you the first payment, depending on what it is and depending on your guarantee and stuff. It just is not as big of a mountain to climb. So payment terms, you want to think about that. And then the next piece of the offer is what we call the risk reversal. So again, depending on the price, you might have to increase the risk reversal. Is that the right term? You just need to help them feel more comfortable with it. So a lot of times with digital products, you know, because let's face it, there are some people that's going to scam, but the likelihood is very low. So this is a decision that you have to make. Some people, if it's really low, if it's a $7, $9 product, you just say, you know, there's no refunds, but if you ever have trouble, reach out to me and I'll make sure that you can utilize it. Okay. If people have like a low cost membership, they might say join for $1, and then after 7 days you get charged the rest. So that would be a very low risk for them. So it's like $1, yeah, I'll try it. Some people, like in memberships, they might offer join us for free for 30 days, you know. So if you have a lot of content in your membership, that would be a good risk reversal. Sometimes people with coaching programs and stuff, especially if it is spread out over like 12 months, then they might say something like, after the first live coaching session, if you feel like this isn't for you, then we'll refund your money. Okay. Whatever makes sense for your offer, but the key is the risk reversal. You need to ask yourself, what conversation are they having in their head? Because they're going to say, am I going to get scammed? Is this going to work for me? I've tried other offers and I wasn't able to do it. Am I smart enough to do this? If it has something to do with technology, will I have time? You know, what if I just don't like how they teach? Whatever it is, try to get into that conversation. And is there a way that you could reverse the risk for them? And then the last piece when you're building out your offer is the scarcity. We don't move unless there's some fire under us. That's the bottom line. Because we keep saying, I'll get around to it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And then other things come up. And then all of a sudden, the money maybe that we had earmarked for it has gone. So how can we, because we always want to be true to the scarcity. So sometimes people have timers on it. And sometimes people will say, this is the last time that this will ever be offered at this price. If you do that, then you need to stick to your word. So a lot of times people, especially with like memberships and stuff, they'll have their oh, what do they call it? It's like the entry level, the first people that join. They'll say, you can join today for $7 a month. You are grandfathered in. Your price will never go up, but in the future, it's going to go up 17, 27, and so forth. So that might be one type of scarcity. Another one might be you could have a timer on it saying, get it today for $97. Before the timer goes off, you get this extra bonus. Once the timer goes off, the price stays the same, but the bonus goes away. So that might be another thing. I've seen, takes a little bit of finessing to pull this off, but I've seen people where they've run like a launch, and every day a bonus disappears. So they start out with 5 bonuses. And then if you wait till the next day, only 4 bonuses, and then only 3, 2, and so forth. Personally, I don't know. I don't like that, because I feel like people are trying to strong arm me just a little bit. But again, people need some kind of motivation, because if they don't have it, guess what? They just sit on the couch and and they don't do anything. One other thing I was going to mention about the payment terms, excuse me, depending on the price, you also want to think about how easy is it for them to buy it. If it is a low ticket offer, for me personally, I like to offer both PayPal options and Stripe, and now there's even Google Pay and all of that kind of stuff. The reason that I like to offer PayPal is because you don't have to get off the couch, right? So if you're looking at something and you think, yeah, I want to get that, PayPal, I don't have to do anything. It's all built in. But if I have to go get my credit card and start adding all the stuff, it lowers my willingness to opt in. If it's a higher ticket, then for the consumer, but also for the person putting out the offer, Stripe is better. Some of these other things are better for you. Sometimes though, especially with low ticket, people will not offer PayPal, and a lot of people use Thrivecart, but the reason they don't offer PayPal is PayPal doesn't allow you to do bump offers. So we've all done that before, where we've purchased something, it's only $7 or $4. The next page they're offering us something else. One-time offer, buy this. The next page, one-time offer, get this, and so forth. With PayPal, you cannot have that built in. So just so you know that if you're ever trying to buy something, now occasionally, if it's something that I really want, and maybe my money is sitting in PayPal and it's not on my credit card or in my Stripe account, I might reach out to them and say, is there any way you would take PayPal? Most of them, if you ask them individually, they probably would. They just know that, okay, they're not going to see my bump offers, but it's much better to get them as a customer than to lose them completely. So for us, when we're putting together our offer diamond, these are all the things that we need to think about, because we want to make it easy for them to hit the buy button. We want them to feel comfortable that there's no risk to them or very minimal risk. And with the risk reversal, that's why a lot of times on the checkout page, we'll see a testimonial, because we get to that last point where we're going to hit the buy button. And then what happens? We start having this conversation in our head. Do I really need this? Is this really going to work? Et cetera, et cetera. But then if we see that little testimonial that somebody says, I am so glad that I bought this, because I'm saving 10 hours a week. Or I'm so glad that I got this because it was super easy to figure out how to start selling on Etsy. So it's kind of an invisible risk reversal by putting that on the checkout page. Okay, does that make sense? So putting it all together, this is just a little worksheet that you can use, your offer statement. So just spend some time. What are you calling your offer? What is the big promise, that transformation? What's the benefit so that they can what? And the additional benefit of the benefit, and then just put it all together. And that's your offer statement. And then on the last page is the components of your offer. So what's the promise? What are the bonuses, payment terms, scarcity, and risk reversal? Right? Does that make sense? Okay, let me stop sharing here. I'll come back to you. So I'll put these things in the membership area so that you can download that and kind of work through the workbook. So that is how you build your offer, that all-encompassing offer. And for all of you that's gone through this, share your offer with me so that I can kind of tweak it. I'll give you my feedback so that we can get it out there. All right, does that make sense? Great. Okay,